Sometimes you turn this camera on, you do it with a specific purpose in mind. And sometimes, like right now, I just turn the camera on. I have I didn't have a plan. I'm just driving down the road thinking about what I want to do before I got to go work. It's a pretty chilly day here in central Missouri, so if anything happens, I'll be back with y'all. This is D.W. Verts, Hillbilly Outdoors, driving down the road. This is, I really intended maybe to do an arrowhead hunting video today. I don't know, some of this stuff I haven't seen since before deer season, and so it's been over a month. Don't know what's been turned over, messed with. Actually, of course, here nothing. We've had some rain the last few days. I can see here the water's been over this slab. That's good. That don't hurt anything for arrowhead hunting, does it? Look at that, there's some actual serious water flow. Boy, it's muddy too, would you look at that? So there's some changes that may help. I knew the water got up a little bit, but there's actually been over the slab here. That's enough to move some rocks around, change some things. As it goes down in these creeks, I'll try to do some hunting real quick to try to beat other people to stuff, because that's what ends up being a race. I keep forgetting to mention, that's where my B-rock was that time. Actually, the hole's still there, kinda. That's the rock that I marked, found, but it was covered with bees. It was some sort of artifact, but napped on heavy. It was back inside a hole. I neglected to not pull it out till the bees were gone. And then it disappeared, and to me it had been stolen, but I had several people comment, hey, it fell out, knocked out by graders, some animal trying to get to the bees, and I keep forgetting to mention. I'll say it right now real quick, we'll call this quits. I put a couple rocks up on the high bank to mark the spot. It's also straight across the road from a power pole. So I actually marked it there too, and those rocks were gone also. I was upset that day, and I mean they're obviously gone, and there was nothing messed with them. They was up on that bank good, so. Don't see any more dead, well yeah, there's a chip right there. There's always chips there. There's a chip or flake, look at that. So I just come in for that little drive around, looking at some fields, looking at creeks, conditions for arrowhead hunting. It's going to get really cold here in Missouri the next couple weeks. It's almost wintertime. I guess it kind of is wintertime. Feels like it. So that's not going to keep me from getting out, I hope. What I'm looking at, what I decided to talk about today, it's a timing thing. I did a video a while back on time, and a lot of people didn't get it. I don't think. I'm not very good at explaining this stuff sometimes. There's a couple things that will help you find points. Your endeavors will be helped by this, I believe. One is, if you're a creek hunter, which we all are, is water, the floods, the water changes. We had our first high water event last, well, I guess what was that, Monday, Tuesday, a 3 days ago, where the water actually got up a little bit. We haven't had that since June, early June, and here it is middle of December. It actually got over that low water slab I was on earlier, so it got up some. So what that does, obviously, a couple things. First off, hopefully it moves some rock around, exposes some new stuff, maybe brings some new stuff in. And secondly, it gets rid of some of them dadgum leaves that are piled up in the creek, and maybe some of that moss and scum that's been there all summer long. Cleans it up, makes it easier to see stuff. Hopefully, the water is still pretty dirty. I can get a chance to check that out. Obviously, maybe wash some stuff in. That's cool too. High water events, floods, whatever, are a arrowhead hunter's dream come true when it comes to creek hunting. Now here's the trick. Water's still pretty high. I mean, our creeks usually go down really quick. That creek was still a couple foot high, which is good. We need rain. But you want to be in the creeks fairly quick after the high water event, because first off, somebody else is going to beat you to it. That's been my problem all year. Everywhere I go, there's been people. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to start going to some places. I'll start working at the more public places to work out. hopefully the colder weather will keep folks away. I'll work it in between chores and other things I have to do, but I'm going to go spend some time on some of those places that are key carriers for me, looking at hopefully some new rock. Okay? Just you need to make a plan. Watch the weather forecast, watch your work schedule, and try to pick out if it's going to rain hard on a Monday and it quits raining Monday night, you need to be out there Wednesday. Some places anyway. I mean, there's always different drainages run different amounts of water, but for me, I've seen my creeks go back down in a matter of hours. I need to be following that water down. I went out one time at night because I had a super spot, and I followed that water down almost 3 foot during the night, and I found points doing it. Pretty dedicated or certifiably crazy, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm out there picking stuff up. None of these fields have been touched yet, so look at that pretty view up that creek. Isn't that nice? Isn't that pretty? I've been on a lot of that creek since I started this channel, but there's that section right there I've hardly ever been on. So just like that, I've come up with a subject for a video about arrowhead hunting today that won't mean me freezing to death. I'll go back and do that in my little warm comfort zone. Because these fields here are not going to yield any artifacts for a while. The other thing that happens for an artifact hunter is the dirt in the fields, the other thing that we do the most of. What I showed in that video a few minutes ago is there's no dirt work in that one area. A farmer plants in the spring, harvests in the fall. So, technically, before he plants, we don't have hardly any till. It's all no-till. They're real healthy, great for everybody, no-till situation. But they will scrape that dirt up some, even just drilling it. I found some points on video this year where it had just been drilled. I found some stuff when they planted, when they drilled that time. It's a timing thing. Sometimes I've missed it. Sometimes I was a day late, I was an hour late. What has to happen is this. Let's start off this time of year. Farmers took his crops out. It's all out there now. You got fields full of beef chaff, corn stalks, the grass and crap that grow up between them all summer long, and there's no visibility. Sometime, hopefully, before too long, the farmer will go in and disc that up a little bit. He's got to turn some of that stuff over. You can't replant amongst all that, and you need to get started breaking down for more soil, right? Because all that bean chaff and all them corn stalks turns into dirt, and they need that. When he turns that all over, though, it's not going to help you generally until it rains. Again, we need that rain, because that rain then washes some dirt off, turns that to mud, and the points start poking up, and it's beautiful when it works right. So that once that happens, that gives you some time, usually this time of year into the winter, that you can have more visibility, good visibility. That's the trick. It's so hard to look at spots this big amongst hundreds of acres. And I found stuff looking, sometimes you just got to go, right? Y'all know that. Then comes spring. Around here, most of the farmers are going to go work that dirt again. It may be a shallow disc. They're not hardly ever going to take a harrow. They're not going to turn the dirt over a bunch, but they're going to break it up some. You need another rain, some sort of water to wash that dirt off, and then before he plants, you've got your shot at it. Now, that being said, I don't go out and hunt after something's been planted. I have hunted some when the beans are knee-high or corn's waist-high. You know what? Stomp around in my landowner's fields, and some people do it, and great. If your landowner don't mind, good for you. I just don't feel comfortable out there in that planted field where a guy's making his living, trying to make some money, me stomping on his stuff. But there's some windows. So you got windows of opportunity that are better than other times in field hunting and water hunting. You've got those times that are better, they're going to work better for you, so you really need to take some time and research, watch the calendar, watch your work schedule, I guess would be the main thing, against weather events, and then you hope that the farmer does his part, it all comes together. When it does, it's cool. It just with the creek thing, for me, I have to do it quick because there's so many people hunt these creeks that I have to kind of beat them to it to a degree. That makes sense? So those are the things, you can put some stuff in your favor towards finding artifacts. You'd be like me all summer with no rain since June the 4th, I think we had a major flood event. Huge, one of the biggest ones forever. And after that, we didn't get a water event to speak of till December 11th. I'm hunting behind a whole bunch of people. They're leaving their roach clips behind. They're leaving their beer cans. They're leaving their rock towers, their totems for me to find. It's amazing. And you start feeling down, and then you start skipping over. It's like me, you get in too much of a hurry. So there you go. Remember, rain is your buddy when it comes to artifact hunting. It makes things happen, makes things visible, but also it's a timing thing with landowners for dirt. Try to make that part of your efforts. And if you have had a hard time finding stuff, you know there should be stuff. Look at beating the crowd to some of this stuff, and look at going when your best chance, the odds are kind of in your favor. The planets line up, and hope you have one of those days, which I haven't had in several years, where you just fill your pockets up. It's so groovy when that happens. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm D.W. Birds, Hick Billy Outdoors. God bless.